sweetest feeling for Rotherham United.
Wood's got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Do We Not Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for being with us tonight, and we have a negative episode coming up, I think. If you thought you were tuning in tonight for a bunch of positivity, you've tuned into the wrong football club's podcast. But we'll talk about yesterday's 1-0 defeat at home to Stockport, if we can. Well, there's one positive to bring out of it, which I think we all know about. We'll touch on that later on in the show, and we'll go from there. Mick's back. How you doing, Mick? You dried out from yesterday?
I'm dried out. I don't know how if I'm any less calm, but I've dried out, yeah.
That's 50% of the way there. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Sam's with us. I understand you all was at Mascot yesterday. How was yesterday for you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. It was first time he's been only mascot. So they have a kick about 2:10, but there were only him. So I thought, how are they going to do this? Woody helped out though. So Woody had a kick about with him. So he's a better footballer than me already.
So we've got a new scapegoat, anybody that's listening. We lost yesterday because Woody was too busy helping the mascot to concentrate on the actual game pre-match. So, Sam, I'm afraid you're getting it, mate.
Yeah, that's it.
Andrew, back. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm good, very good. We've gone 3 minutes and we've mentioned Woody already. They'll be loving that.
Yes.
It's what we do. Loads of people with us, as you'd expect, on a Sunday evening. Aaron's with us, as is Martin Horn, the YouTube user. Miller66 evening, that was as bad as what the weather was. Nicholas Little said, every evening, all this should be good after yesterday. Sarah's with us, as is Chris Page. Richard says things can only get better. Paul Rhodes is with us. Got a feeling this is going to be a strong cuppa and whisper gold type of podcast.
Oh, whisper gold. Oh,
yeah, classic.
Oh, yeah.
Harry asks if anybody else is getting concerned. Aaron Cook's evening all feels like it's slowly going to be like the last 2 seasons. Dominic Coe was with us, Andrew Barlow, and Adam Coe just says evening. Yeah, we've got ref rants, we've got rants about players, we've got everything for you tonight, probably. Where else do you want to be? Start with you, Mick. You were very, very, very unhappy yesterday on the instant reaction, and you hid it badly.
Yeah. Good.
More than 24 hours has passed. Are we any more calm? Or are we still fuming about the performance?
I'm marginally calmer, but not much. I thought the performance was, I don't know. I think that about sums it up, actually, doesn't it? Yeah, it's really difficult to put your finger on why it was so bad, but it was bad. It was toothless. And they just felt lacking in confidence, lacking in aggression, lacking in any sort of pace, any sort of urgency, and disappointing. Hugely disappointing. We got a couple of players back. It didn't seem to make the blindest bit of difference, really, because we were still slow and lumberous and didn't want to keep hold of the ball. And when we did have the ball, nobody else seemed to want it. You know, it was just a hugely disappointing performance for me, and I'm not happy about it. I wasn't happy about it, as is most people, as were most people, against a side who I was also extremely disappointed in. When we played Stockport the last couple of times, they've been aggressive, they've been in your face, they've been proactive, they've been a forward playing team. And for me, yesterday they were just the same run of the mill, trying to play football, League One, League Two side. You know, lots of pretty passes and pretty toothless as well. They were there for the taking, as are probably most teams in this division, and we're not at races at all at the moment, and I'm hugely disappointed still.
Yeah. Paul Smith said, I thought the first half was quite entertaining, but the second half was bad. He thought perhaps he's played well. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think what Mick kind of mentioned there, Andrew, is part of the frustration was that we know Stockport are probably going to be up there at the end of the season. They're probably going to be challenging for the top 2 or 3. But they weren't that team yesterday. They were well. I know they got their injury. I know they got the problem. Stockport fans watching, and we're not having a dig at you. What was it? That was a Stockport team. Felt like a good time to play them. And in the first half, they kind of supported that, but we just didn't feel like taking any advantage of their kind of shortcomings.
Yeah, I mean, I went to both games last year, and they were a very good side. I mean, some of the players like Diamond, who played yesterday for them.
Can anybody hear Andrew, or is it me?
No, I think we've lost you there, Andrew.
You've lost.
Andrew was telling us beforehand he's got a really expensive mic on, and that he's got for uses for work on his Teams meetings. And this is probably why nobody listens to you at work, Andrew. These Teams meetings.
Did you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you now.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it crackly or is it clear?
No, it's clear. That's good. That.
Oh, I'll take it off then because it's not nothing to do with headphones. It's the iPad mic now. So So last year, both games they were miles better than us on both occasions. I know we drew with them that first one at home, but Louis Barry ran the show. And then at their place, I forgot the name of the guy, but he's gone to Charlton. He scored yesterday against Blades, and he ran the show over there as well. But they didn't have any quality in that first half at all. And then brought Mothersill on and the number 10, who I have no idea what it was called, but the number 10, and they just had that ability to step up. And I think the frustration comes from they were there to be got at, but they still just had that little bit better quality than us. Maybe not overall as such, just in the moment, but we just have we've got some half decent players, just not playing. They're not playing together, not gelling. I don't know what it is.
No. Chris said it was February was the 10. Oh, you mentioned it was decent.
Yeah.
Came on.
Very good.
Richard says we're not losing to quality teams, we're losing to bang average teams.
Yeah.
And especially at home, Stan, this is something we talked on the podcast in the last couple of weeks, that when you lose away from home, especially out in the way we lost to Wimbledon, it then puts massive pressure on that home form. And I think you felt that at full time yesterday. Not only was losing to Stockport's not the end of the world, but because we're losing away from home and because it was a bang average team who weren't on their day, it just adds everything into that frustration as well, that it was just, we need to be, especially because they're away from, we have to be winning these games.
Yeah, I would think it's not our worst performance of the season so far, in my opinion anyway. But it's compounded by how we lost to Wimbledon last week and Stevenage, and I can't think who else we've lost to. Who else have we lost to? Donny,
yeah.
All of them, none of them, apart from Cardiff, none of them have blasted us off at Park, have they? And it's the manner, because all of them so far have been there for the taking, really. And I think that is the most frustrating thing. And I think that kind of plays into why you put two strikers on at the same time. It seemed like it was expecting us to have gone up by half time instead of staggering them, maybe taking Hugo off for Coyote. And I think when we weren't up at half time, that were it then. Plan had gone out a window. And I think you saw that by the subs in the second half.
Yeah, let's go back to the start of it, because there was good news. I know not everybody agreed with this, but there was really good news. There were 3 people in that squad we half weren't expecting. Denzel Hall's back. Lenny was back on the bench, but I didn't play. And Sean McWilliams starts as well, who we didn't think was going to start. Bearing in mind he came off last week. So I'm going for him thinking, okay, we're at home. We've got all these players back that I didn't think we were going to have back. This could be a really positive. You've got, again, a Stockport team struggling, but those players I kind of mentioned, McWilliams and others, it was a really messy first half, particularly. We never got into the groove. I know the referee didn't help, and we'll come on to the ref. But we were just a mess in that first half. And those positive vibes of players coming back just ebbed away pretty quickly.
Yeah, up to a point. Yeah, there were some decent moves, 1 or 2 decent moves within that first half when we did move the ball quickly and when we did move off the ball. But for the bulk of the time, I think you mentioned it at the time, Matt, that, at half an hour, it felt like we've been playing for 3 days. It just seemed to go on forever, and nothing happened from either side. It was just two poor sides kind of slogging it out, kicking balls to each other, essentially. I don't know. I don't understand. Because you look at that midfield. You got Dango, Sean McWilliams, Powell, and who else was in there on that? Martha. They refused to give Martha the ball for the bulk of the first half. Yeah. He's out in space. Whoever's got the ball in midfield looks at him and turns away and goes in the opposite direction, virtually for the whole of that first half. So he never saw the ball. Powell had a poor game by his standards again. McWilliams wasn't even at the races yesterday.
No,
but for whatever reason, it looks certainly towards the back end of the second half that he was still carrying that injury that he got last week. So that's three of your midfielders already who are not even in the game. You're getting nowhere. You're going nowhere at that point. For me, anyway, which is exactly where we ended up. Nowhere. I don't understand. I don't understand what the problem was with getting the ball out wide to Martha. We got it out wide to the other side. But when we did, unfortunately, you got Joe Powell was way too far inside, so he wasn't there to support either James or who played on left. I can't remember who played on left now.
James, wasn't it?
Well, Powell was never there to support him because he was too far inside, too far on the other side of the pitch. Almost, it was just disorganised, and we got what we deserved, I guess. Ultimately,
yeah, I agree. Let's touch on this. Matt Miller said, "I can't still point to JJ. Never rated him. Don't know why we offered another contract for this season." And I've seen a few people mention this, Andrew, but at the same time, I had two big moments, and they weren't great, but come from JJ. With that chance in the first half, which, if the bounce goes the right way, JJ's through it, just kind of bounced up in a really awkward way. And in the second half, I know he's got to do better when he was running in from the inside, but there's only JJ actually making positive runs and positive. I felt sorry for him because I think he's trying, and he's kind of this close to having a good goal, probably. But what do you think?
It was better of the two. It was better of the two front men by some distance. He tried, which less can be said about the other one. Didn't do that as such. If he just had a bit of a better touch for that second one, and then he did all the hard work for the first one, and then he ended up turning round and then laying it off. I'll be honest, I want JJ to succeed. He obviously comes across as a really nice guy. He's been at the club a long time, but he's not a League One quality striker. But that's where we are, and I think he was offered a contract just because there weren't many other options out there, so we gave him an additional, whatever it is, a year or whatever, just to make sure we've got bodies in. But I think the argument to be said, he's probably conference standard. Maybe that sounds harsh. Well, National League standard. I just don't think he's of that quality. But he's still made some half decent runs. He's still put himself about a bit, which Hugo didn't. So of the two, he was the better one of the two. But obviously, he went off. I'd have kept him on, but he was knackered, weren't he? That's why he went off. And he had more of an effect in one more. But it's just, I don't know. You want him to succeed, but he's not at that level, really.
No, he tries, which is like
Yeah.
Let's get the big moments out of the way, Sam, because there are a couple of the goal plus a disallowed goal, which we'll come on to in a minute. But the goal comes on literally the hour mark. This is really frustrating, Sam, because how much of the blame is on Cam Dawson here? Let's just put it like that. The punch, which wasn't really a very good punch, and the ball comes straight back in. How much is on Dawson?
I don't know what to think about this because I've watched it back today, and he does get it out of the box, the punch, but their player who crosses it in, is it Norwood who crosses it in?
I think so. Yeah.
He has so much time. It takes an extra touch to get it perfect, and there was no one closing him down. I don't know who was the closest to him, but there should have been someone on him on edge of the box because he had so much time. And then he's got caught, Annie. It felt really weird in terms of it kind of fell behind with Jules, who was marking him. Kind of fell behind him, didn't it? He shouldn't have got the header in the first place. And I don't think Dawson was expecting it one bit because he didn't move for it, did he?
No.
Yeah, someone's got to go to Dawson, obviously, but the ball shouldn't have come in the first place.
If you're punching it out as a goalkeeper, you've got to get it out. And you don't give it to one of the best football players of the ball in that league. And I mean, when it's fortunate that it's landed on Norwood's feet, but you just got to get it out. Can he collect it with his hands? It's where I understand why, but if you're going to punch it, just get it out there. It was a bit flimsy, weren't it?
Yeah, and he did another one not long after as well, which was slightly better, but not that much better. Nick Newsom says, no blame on Dawson. The punch had a good distance. Look at Man City's world number of punches. Just the same, Mick. I don't know. For me, Dawson's got to take a lot of risk. And again, I can just say, like we said in the instant reaction yesterday, if he gets his hands on that, game's dead. You go again, you move on again. And we say it's wet, but he does it all the time. This isn't just because it's wet. He is a puncher of the ball. And Victor was to start with, to be fair. And Victor gradually moved into a keeper that catches it more and other ones as well. But yeah, then you've got to look at defence. And like Sam mentioned, you've got to look at the closing down. But if you're a keeper, you've got to kind of take charge. And he just didn't take charge again.
It was like we said, a comedy of errors, really. But for me, he's got to do better. He has got to do better. He got there. He got there with both hands. He just chose to use one of them, and he didn't use it well enough. I think you said it on the post-match, man. If you're going to punch it. You know. And he kind of scuffed it. Catch it. He had plenty of time to catch it, and he didn't. However, the defending, like Andrew said there, the defending after that has got to be better. Oh, sorry, Sam. That it's got to be better. You know, you can't allow crosses into the box like that without closing them down, without putting pressure on them, and you can't get somebody a free header on 6-yard box, can you? So yeah, it's just poor all round, really, for me. So he has to accept some blame. I think, to answer your question, for me, Dawson has to take some blame. You know, and I listen. I hear what Nick's saying about the punch going outside the box. Yeah, it did. But if he punched it properly, it would have been up towards the halfway line, and he didn't. He scuffed it, and you've got to get rid of it. You've got to get it out of the danger area one way or another, either in your hands or halfway up pitch. But again, once he's done that, the defence have got to get him out of jail or get us out of jail, and they didn't.
Yeah. Adam Firth makes a good point. Dawson needs to bear any contact him is probably a foul anyway, especially like referee yesterday. But no one came out to know because everybody was in the area. In which case, how did he get a free header? So that's a great point. There weren't enough people out wide to close on the cross because they were on the box, but there weren't enough people in the box to mark him out. Just an absolute mess. Scott Gundy goes strong. Says Dawson's awful for the stop. That causes most of the issues on the crosses to go to his line. Might notice that punch should have landed at least 30 yards from goal. It's an easy skill. Paul Rose adds in there as well. Just on the actual defensive lineup, though, Andrew, you've got to do better. And there was another one later on in the game where their player had a free header almost on the 6-yard line, put it wide. These are issues that should be solved by now. You can be a little bit weak from defending cross and set pieces, but these are just 2 free headers in the game, and that's something you've got to. That's a bit of a basic, really.
We're not good at stopping the crosses coming in, and when they are coming in, we're not good at getting them out. I do think Baptiste and Jules generally played okay yesterday, but at the big moments they went missing, or whether that's both of them. Baptiste, a young lad, you can give him a bit of sort of like leeway to some extent, but that header. I mean, when he missed that, I said to people around me, I went, "That's a chance. That means, like they might rule missing that, and had that not been offside, then they would have done." But it's just basics. Jules is a big lad. He shouldn't be getting out muscled on headers, but he does it quite frequently. I mean, I appreciate Wotton's a big hitter, isn't he? And they've got some big lads, Stockport, but they seem to. we seem to miss a lot of headers, whether that's a long header up or if that's a ball into the box. We just seem to miss a lot of them. And it's like you say, it's basics. It's basics football, isn't it?
Yeah. Josh Smith asks, is there not massive concern that we're conceding similar goals every week? Crosses to the box. He says Dawson isn't good. I think Woody's coaching our defence too isn't looking too great either. Yeah. What do you reckon? Is that because seven league games in now, plus obviously the cup games. That's again. It's a basic principle of football. Either be really, really good at stopping the cross, or be really, really good at heading or at marking your man and attacking the ball as it comes in. And I know we're missing Holmes, but you can't just rely on one defender to kind of manage all that. You need, as a group, as a unit, you need to be better than that.
I think pretty much every goal that's how we've conceded, apart from maybe like the odd one that's come like a screamer from outside the box. I think all of them have come that way. But it's not even that, because I think we got caught out in the first half. People calling offside, I don't think that was offside at all. I think he'd just done it for pace.
It were offside. Coletta were offside in the first. Oh no, sorry, you're not on about there.
No, Stockport chance.
With Jules, the player got behind him, and you like if we've got defenders who are playing out and a bit pacey, then fair enough. But then if we're getting caught out with both times, either over top and crosses in, then it's no good, is it?
No, it's not. John Davis brings up an interesting point, and we're going to touch on injury before we touch on the disallowed goal. But John Davis says this might be a different conversation if we had a fit Agbear, Raggett, and Holmes, Mick. And it might be, but they aren't fit at the end of the day. And when these players aren't fit, you have to have other people stepping up. And Stockport, look at Stockport yesterday. There were loads of injuries, but in the second half, they stood up to be counted, and they went on to win the game relatively comfortable 1-0 in the end, realistically. You can only use the injury as an excuse for a certain amount of time. You have to be better as a unit, not just there are some players. Because Raggett, none of us have picked Raggett anyway. No. To be fair in that one. So you're only saying Lenny and Holmes, and Lenny's a young lad as well. You have to do better, even if you have injuries. From the basics, I think.
Yeah, you do. But they've got to play the unit, haven't they? And I don't know. You have. And you can use it as an excuse. You can call it an excuse if you want. We have got to do better. It's as simple as that. And they've got to train better, and they've got to work. The management team have got to get. I nearly swore then. They're going to get their things together and get this sorted out, because you've got Zach Jules, who has proved in the past he's a very, very capable central defender at this level, and he's not performing. And then you've got, well, what have you got? You've got Rafferty, who's a right back. You've got James, who's a left back. You've got nothing.
Baptiste.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, Baptiste is yes, my apologies, because he was excellent yesterday. Yeah, really, really good, particularly given his age. So, yeah, we've got him. So we've got Baptiste and Jules. That's it. You know? He's wanting to play 5 at back. I know everybody's talking about it should be 4, and I know this is a completely another can of worms to talk about, isn't it? But I don't know. Honestly, I'm kind of at a loss as to where to go with this at the moment, because defensively we are in a bit of a mess at times. I don't think James should be playing. I'll be honest. I think he gets caught out so many times, but we ain't got anybody else.
You've got Martha, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but James gives you basically nothing going forward, and he's not great defensively. At least Martha gives you something going forward. Playing him right wing back were wild yesterday.
Yeah. I don't think he would ever designed. I don't think he would ever intended for him to play defensively yesterday. I don't know what he were intended to do, because he didn't get ball when he was up front either. So, you know, it was a bit bizarre. But defensively, we're not in great shape. I don't think we've got some experience in there with James and Rafferty and so on, and Raggett if he's ever fit, which I don't think he will be now for us. But we haven't got the quality. we haven't got the quality. James gets caught out so many times. Rafferty, he works really, really hard, but he's getting caught out of position at times, and he's not a central defender.
If you're going to play James, he needs to be a right back, not a right wing back. We were saying it last season, and because we didn't play with wingers, James were our outlet. Do you know, like down that left hand side, and he became not a wing back because we weren't playing 5 at back, but he was a wing back in a sense. And the amount of times he got caught out, ball over the top. If you're going to play him, you play him in a back 4 as a right back, and then at least you've got a supporting winger to come back and support and help. But he just gets exposed, and that. I can't forget his name again. The kid who came on, just had him on toast all second half. The amount of times you just saw James going like that because he didn't know where he were, and it's becoming an issue. It's becoming a part of the problem.
But also, what I would say is, particularly in that second half, one of the problems that Reece James had is because he's playing as a central defender, he doesn't know whether he should be on left hand side or whether he should be in middle. As a consequence, he left so much space down that right hand side because he went out of position. Because where's he playing? You know, so I'm kind of sticking up for him a little bit there because I just don't think he knew exactly where he meant to be. But he does get caught behind quite a lot with players getting in behind him. But yeah, he were playing left side of central defence, and we didn't really have a left back, so we were kind of covering both flops almost.
Yeah. On injuries, Matt Nelson, instead of hearing injuries as an excuse, there's some merit in it, but skill is for Hampshire and his coaches to get the others at their disposal to stand up and perform again.
Absolutely.
And that's nail ahead for me, that Sam. You know, we've been pretty strong defenders at Hampshire, but you have to play the cards that you're dealt. You have to be proactive. You have to be pragmatic. You have to change things when things go against you. And when you've got a load of injuries, you've got to do something different. You've got to change something different. You've got to be organised, and all of those things I just mentioned then. We aren't any of those.
No, I think with our recruitment and our playing 5 at back, it left us open. If there were any injuries, we were going to be in trouble. I think it was an odd move, making Rafferty captain, but it doesn't fit the formation really. Yeah. If you're playing 5 at back, like you've got Denzel, Coletta, Martha. He's not a centre back, is he? Really?
No.
So it's an odd one. It really is. We have been unlucky with injuries, and would you have expected Denzel to be injured in the first month with his age and Nombe especially? Another one. I don't think he's had an injury since we've had him, and then all of a sudden it's like a bad one. They have been Lenny as well. Sean Raggett wasn't a surprise at all.
No.
So yeah, we have been unlucky, but we kind of should have predicted that and had plenty of cover and have one less centre back to worry about.
Yeah, or change formation. He's got to be flexible.
Exactly. Yeah, have a 4. Yeah.
Yeah. I know he wants to play 5, and that's fine if you want to do it. But when you get kicked in face, you change your tactics, don't you?
You could have the players to do it.
Yeah. You have. Let's touch on the disallowed goal at the end, Andrew. Matt Hampshire was unhappy about it, and I'm unsure why, because I think pretty sure Colette's offside, and I'm pretty sure Kelly's offside. Either, and if they're not, it's incredibly tight where you kind of get the benefit of the doubt to the lino there. I don't really get his complaining about that.
No, as I jumped in earlier, the wrong point. I never even thought it was Coletta. I assumed it was Kelly who was offside, but then I saw a slowed down video of it, and obviously we're seeing it slowed down. But Coletta's offside when the ball's played in, which is inexcusable anyway. From a free kick, you don't need to go early. And I think Kelly actually remains onside. It's tighter, so you could see how it's given, but the ball. Kelly is behind Coletta when the ball's played. So, but it's Coletta who's offside. And so I can't, unless Hampshire's not looking at Coletta and he's looking at Kelly, and that's what he's getting angry about, he's actually offside. And at the time, you're like, I jumped around and then saw the flag go up and I kind of like understood. I thought, well, it felt like it were offside. And then when I've seen it again, it just, it was the other person, but it was offside, and I don't know what Hammy's going on about there. I suppose that is the point of desperation and fear for his job. I don't know if we're at that stage, but it's that point of desperation, isn't it? And you jump on everything.
Who played the ball back across?
Coletta.
I think Hammy's probably most upset about the fact that that's the only time in game that either linesman were actually up with play. That's probably what he's getting his face on about. But anyway,
yeah. I also want to add to where we had a good chat in the Discord group last night. If you're not on the Discord group, you should join it. We had a good chat last night. Craig put a comment on there. He sits directly behind the home bench, and straight after it happened, Mick, Woody instructed the players to go and complain to the referee about it definitely being onside. Does that matter? Do you like that? I don't think that's great, but would you have an opinion? Am I making mountain over molehill for that one?
Whatever. I'm not interested. I don't care about stuff like that. I think he's probably just trying to get a bit of aggression into the team and a bit of fight and a bit of passion and a bit of desire in there. You know, maybe that's one way of doing it. I don't know. I don't agree with going confronting red fault linesmen because they are absolutely not going to change their minds.
No.
So I don't know. Now it's. If that is the case, and obviously I don't know, then it's not right. But yeah, just for God's sake, get some fight and passion into these players. That's the first thing I want to see, and that's what we were promised by Hanshaw. The only promise that he made, not that he hasn't made a million like some people have in the past, and not kept any of them.
Who made loads of promises, Mick?
I have no idea.
Slimmer at year. That's who it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fair play to him, to be fair. That's not a slag off. Fair play to the lad losing as much weight as that, but yeah.
Yeah, it does look good, bless him. Let's pick out some individual performances and let's go for a positive before we dig out 3 or 4 more of the players. Dan Gore got sponsors man of the match. I know they stepped in the second half, so Dan Gore was a class above literally everybody on the pitch yesterday. But at times, he was almost too good for everybody else. Nobody else was reading what he was going to do, and I can imagine that's quite frustrating for him.
I said to my dad about 15 minutes in, I turned to him and looked at it, he's going to have one of them matches where he tried doing some things which were a bit too much for him, but there were no one else running, so he had to try it. There were a few times where he took it past about 2 players, tried going for a third as well, and it would too much. But 90% of his performance, it was just like flawless. It was unbelievable. But I said to my dad, they needed 3 of him in midfield because we needed someone further up because he was coming so deep and turning. We needed another one of him further up because there was no one else to pass it to. Yeah, they were unreal. But he seems to be putting more consistent performances together as well. Yeah. I was saying to my dad about compared to Malik Wilkes. Malik Wilkes were good, probably better, but he'd go missing for 5 games after that. Whereas he's at consistent level now. It seems to be every match. If we I don't like Johnny Evans were there, and we best keep hold of him after January as well.
God, he's definitely getting recalled, isn't he? Jeez. Mark Gamble says, screwed if he gets injured or recalled. Yeah, I've got a bad feeling that Goal will be recalled in January if things stay this or sent out to a better team. Yeah, it has taken a bit of time, Andrew, to be fair. There were first 3 or 4 games. They were really good against Port Vale for half an hour, and then he kind of went missing until the Exeter game, really, where he played a bit deeper. But like Sam says, he's been the man for the last 3 games, and other people need to step up and help him out because he can't do everything himself. He needs help.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to the Barnsley game. In fact, I was sat in front of you, weren't I, at the Barnsley game there, and I just thought, I was saying it generally about him, he just goes missing. And then at the Exeter game, he was completely different and he's been so much better. And yesterday, it was his best performance in a Rotherham shirt, head and shoulders above everybody. And there was one point, I think he was running with it, and you've got Hugo on the shoulder of the last man, and he just stayed on the last man, and there were no run there. And that's where you expect to run in behind, and then he can cut through. And he was just head and shoulders above everybody. And like you said, nobody else was on his wavelength. And it just feels like, even as you'd expect, you've got some technically good footballers there, like Powell, who's just massively off it at the moment. And just nobody's there with him. Nobody's there with him. I mean, maybe if Hall had been playing, it might have been a bit different because I think he's of that standard. But like the guy commented on there, if Johnny Evans is there and he's looking at him and looking at that performance and seeing how good he is, and he's probably not thinking for the long term of Manchester United, but probably thinking about how much money they can make out of him if a Championship club buys him something. They'll send him to a Stockport, or they'll send him to a Bradford, or somebody else who's after him will see the performances, because you don't want him playing for a non-progressive football club. You want to see a good football team.
Yeah, I agree, Mick, and that's something that we ain't going to look at it just because we're going to look at the Dan Gore, but as a team, you've got to get better. You can't just have one guy being really good. We had this in the relegation season with Victor, really. There's one guy being fantastic. It's never really enough. And a little bit with Hacks last year, to be fair. You had Hacks being really, really good, but nobody else around him supporting him too much. You're then getting a slippery slope towards being so reliant on one guy.
Yeah.
But again, this is something you've got to work on as a team. You can't start this midfield three and then not work together. You should have worked on that for the last 3 weeks. These have all been fit.
Yeah.
This is all about lack of movement for me.
Yeah.
I've sort of banged on about this all season. And if you've got a player like Dan Gore playing like he played yesterday, it doesn't matter whether it's Dan Gore playing like that or not. You've got to have some movement in that midfield. And you've got to have some movement from that front too. When we've got the ball, we are static. And I can't remember whether you mentioned this in one of the comments there. It goes run all the way through our midfield, through their midfield, and nobody's supported him. Nobody's moved for him. Nobody's made any space for him. Nobody's taken any players away from him. And he's got no outlet because we don't move off the ball. We don't create that space. We don't create options for the players with the ball. It's just not happening. And that probably for me is one of the biggest disappointments I've got with Matt Amshaw's reign so far, because I expected some football. And I don't mean with the ball at your feet. I meant when you're off the ball, when you're out of possession of the ball, as when your team's in possession of the ball, but you as a player aren't. You've got a huge responsibility, and nobody's taking that responsibility. Is how it feels to me. I can't believe that they don't train to do that. But when we're out on the pitch, it's just not happening. McWilliams wasn't there to support him yesterday. Powell wasn't there to support him yesterday. Hugo, yeah, you can call Hugo all you want. He ain't going to run off the shoulder of the last man. He's just not going to do that, because he can't. But there are players within that squad that are capable of that. Was capable of making the space and capable of creating some options, and they're not doing it. And I think, we talked about Liam Kelly last season. That was an issue for Liam Kelly last season because the movement of the midfield wasn't there. They just didn't happen. And you look at all these other teams, Stockports and all these pretty footballing teams, one of the reasons they're capable of playing that football is because of the movement off the ball. So I think he's an excellent player, Dan Gore. He was outstanding yesterday, and he was let down massively by his midfield compatriots, colleagues, whatever you want to call them, hugely.
Teammates.
And
will that affect his future performances as well? He had a great game yesterday. He played really well. If he keeps playing well and nobody's going with him, he's going to get demoralised, isn't he? It's just natural. So you expect some people are going to have to step up, and you'd expect that's the type of thing that Hammy's going to say is like, Dan, you're excellent today, but you guys, you need to step up, and nobody is. You need to come along with him, and they're not. No, you're completely right, Nick. It's frustrating. The movement is, you're just beside yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's the most passionate. I think he's like the most passionate as well in everything he does. You see, every time we get a throw in, he's the one calling for it. There's nobody else. I feel like throw-ins at the minute are like a hindrance because there's nobody moving. There's only him coming for it. And then whenever anything kicks off, it's him who's in their face and everything else. And he's not even our player. That's the annoying thing.
Yeah. Baptiste doing exactly the same later on in the game.
Yeah.
Picking the ball up and beating 3 or 4 players, including his own, because nobody were going to move for him. Absolutely ridiculous. So you've got 2 players there with an average age of about 4, You know, just
don't belong to
absolutely
us.
nailing the rest of the team and showing them what they should be doing. And neither of them are ours.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
not to like?
This is positive stuff, guys. I like it.
The only positive when we talk about Dangor has turned into a negative, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We talk about Dangor, it's a positive, and we just ranted about the negative side of it.
I'm sorry about
Yeah. Well, what can you do? Yeah, let's stick with midfielders though, Sam, because I'm going to start with Sean McWilliams. No, Powell's coming for a bit of criticism, and rightly so. But we should start with Sean McWilliams, really, for me, because Sean McWilliams has been brought in to do a job. He's bags of energy to carry the ball forward, to make those runs for Dan Gore. And that was a flashback to this time last year, the Sean McWilliams. We had a conversation here last year about kind of saying, I don't really know what Sean McWilliams is as a midfielder. Well, that's exactly how he played on Saturday. And he may well have been injured because he was limping a bit towards the end. But then your question is that on Hampshire for playing him? Is that on Sean McWilliams for forcing him playing him through? But that wasn't good enough for Sean McWilliams yesterday based on what he should be giving us.
Yeah, he got into a bit of form last season, didn't he? And then he got injured again. He's been all right so far, but he weren't fit. I think he was fitness yesterday, but that means he shouldn't have started. Yeah. We've got plenty of midfielders. We've got Spence, Benson, Yearwood.
Yeah. Yearwood didn't make squad.
Yeah. I thought it was odd because I took my little one down to changing room to meet all players, and Yearwood there bribed him with sweets for his affection. But he was there in changing room. But then when I came up and they announced thing, I'm thinking that's odd. Why is he in changing room if he's not in squad? And he was sat a few rows behind, which I thought was just a bit bizarre, to be honest. Because why risk an injury again when someone else could be him? I don't understand.
No.
Yeah, what also don't help the midfield is I know we said Gore was obviously showing for it, but any other times it's just going straight over top of him.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like we're reverting back to type a bit, and that's probably a criticism for Dawson as well a little bit. He just hoofs it up, doesn't he?
Yeah,
most of
it's
the
not
time.
Great either.
Yeah,
his kicking's not brilliant at all.
So that's a little bit of sympathy I have for Powell and McWilliams there because they were just going over the red most of the time.
Yeah. Sean says rushed him back. Should have played Spence. I was saying he didn't look fit either. Yeah, Andrew, and this is that then comes down to Matt Amshaw, really. And I know we're going to be careful with Spence as well because he's been injured as well, so you have to be careful a little bit. But Liam Kelly could have played an hour yesterday instead, and then give Dan Gore a bit more freedom. It's Powell or McWilliams, to be honest, but we're talking about McWilliams at this point. It was blindingly obvious pretty early on in the second half that McWilliams wasn't fit, and he stayed on to 81st minute. That's really poor from Amshaw, that for me.
It is, and I mean, we could all probably sit here and say, actually, those three, Powell aside, but I guess those three as a unit have worked okay in a couple of games, but okay. I'm not saying they've set world on fire. So there's an element of, right, that's my best three. I want to stick with them three. But we're in an injury crisis, or we're coming out back end of an injury crisis. We've recently released that it's just a bit of bad luck. But it's not bad luck if a guy who's unfit, injured last week, is then played in a game and then breaks down injured again. That's not bad luck, that's bad management. So there's an element of, you're right, he had no effect on the game and he stayed on for 81 minutes. You can sometimes think that expectation, you're keeping him on for expectation. But he's not that type of player, is it? He's a guy who grabs the ball and runs with it. If you're not fit, you're not going to be able to do that. So I completely agree with you, Matt. I think it's poor from Amshaw, that. Very poor.
Yeah. Sean says he signed Yearwood, still chooses Kelly. Harry says he played Yearwood instead of McWilliams. He's been solid for me. Hasn't deserved to be dropped from the squad.
No.
Yeah, the Yearwood thing's a bit weird for me. Now, we're assuming he's fully fit, to be honest. He might have picked up an ankle, but he was out doing the warm-up, the thing where they run to the halfway line and back. Before the game as well, Mick. But it's weird because we've got some really good... And to be fair to Benson was actually quite good when he came out. Again, you've got to nurse him a little bit because of his injuries. But we've got so many options there in midfield. The other place where we've got some options, and it seems a bit mad. And Powell came off on 65 minutes, so that makes sense really for Joe Powell. But I expect more criticism, rotation. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought both Benson and Spence looked really good, really lively when they came on. They added a spark and they added a bit of fight and a bit of pace to the game. I thought they were really good. Everything that McWilliams and Powell yesterday didn't offer. I don't want to criticise Sean McWilliams because I think he's been really good. But yesterday he was completely off it, and I think I think the consensus is right that he's probably still suffering from that injury, and therefore should not have played. Yearwood thing is a bit strange. The fact that Spence is clearly fit now. He has to start next game for me in place of Powell, and arguably Benson as well in place of McWilliams. Those two look to me more like the type of players that are going to offer you something in that midfield. At the moment, with the greatest respect to Joe Powell and to Sean McWilliams, they are not offering us anything. You know, we're doing the same thing week after week, and neither of them are really impacting the games. They need to be sat out for a bit. I accept that Powell's played every game last season and most games, if not all games this season. Maybe it's time just to say, have a minute, you know, have a couple of games out, whatever. I don't know, but they're not cutting it, so they've got to be dropped. You know, whether you think as a manager they are my best two starting midfielders, they might be, but they ain't at the moment, quite clearly. So it has to change for me. And they're part of the old regime, which not everybody, some people bang on about the fact that impacts the way we are at the moment. I don't know whether it does or not personally. I don't know whether I subscribe to that point of view. But they are. So bring a couple of new guard in. Let's see.
Classic Mick blaming Steve Evans for this season's problems.
I'm not. I think you'll find if you listen to what I said, I don't necessarily agree with that point of view. I think is what I said.
Okay.
I'll wind it back and have a look, but I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah. Harry says, you're criticising Hampshire. How dare you? He's from Rotherham. I'll have you. And then Chris Taylor says, only 2 strikers fit and he played them both softly off. How do we change things? And that's a good point, Sam. What's an even bigger point is that we finished the game with no strikers. And, well, it was just a mess. That last 25 minutes was just a complete and utter mess. And that was kind of a culmination of the mess that was created by Hampshire and his substitutions and changes, is that we had no striker. Benson's playing as kind of a false 9, sort of, I think. It was just a disaster. And like you mentioned earlier about him kind of gambling about getting the goals first half, and it was just a mess.
Yeah, like I said, I think he was backing us to score early on, as we have probably done at home. I wouldn't have started Coyote. Nothing against him, but I think he only played 10 minutes against Wimbledon. Mm-hmm. He's not played much since then. So I think it was a bit harsh to put him in straight away. And like he left us no option because Hugo's played so much already. Yeah. We thought at the start of the season he's going to be third choice maybe. Mm-hmm. He's going to be just used as and when. And I don't know what he's made out of, but I don't think he's been injured since we've had him.
He's always available.
He's always available, isn't he? Yeah. I don't know what he's made out of, but he just left us with no plan, and that was my biggest criticism of Hampshire. Was it felt like that last 15 minutes we just chucked anything at it in terms of Kelly, Benson, and just hope for the best. Because he took them both off, didn't he? There were no threat, really.
No. Nick News says Hammy must more or less admitted playing 2 strikers there, give him a break. When it doesn't work, Andrew, and I know what Nick's saying, but when it doesn't work, and when it doesn't work as messy as it ended up being in the second half, you can't just let it slide. It's admitted defeat, fine, but it was really bad how it ended up.
Fair enough, give him a break, but he's the manager. He's the one whose decisions can determine whether we'll win games or not. And that game was winnable. Like they weren't great. I know they beat us, but it was a winnable game. The 2 forwards point. where we were really good the other day against Exeter, I know we're talking about formations again, but it was like when we went 4-3-3 and we had Hugo and Hall and Coletta. And now you're not going to be able to play them, but you could have played Hugo, Coletta and Martha as a three. And you've got the pace next to the big lad. That's when it worked. It worked against Exeter. Why not give that a go the other day? And when I saw them both starting, I just thought you're going with just identikit strikers. They're both big lads, and you're going to. The first thing I thought is we're just going to hoof it. It's just going to be hoofing it up from try and win headers, and we've won an handful of headers on long ball. And as a manager, you live and die by your decisions. And right, he's made a bad one. He's held his hand up and taken responsibility for that. Don't do it again. When we go to Mansfield on Saturday, pick the right team.
Yeah, will they do it again? Possibly. Yeah. Phil says we keep saying we'll get a better team even when the players are back, but there seems no cohesion between the lines, Mick. So Hanson, last 10. Go on.
Who's back?
Well, he's saying when they get back, so I assume it means
I think what Phil's saying is, but even with players back, there's no cohesion between the lines. Well, who's back? In that squad yesterday, who's back from injury? In that first starting 11, who's back from injury? Yeah. You know, and I get what Phil's saying, and again, it's like we talked about again with Phil last time on here. You know, when's it going to get better? When will it improve? Players are starting to come back from injury, but none of them started yesterday. The only player that you could argue came back yesterday was McWilliams because we thought it were going to be out, but because we thought it were going to be out. So I don't think it's at that point yet. We have got Lenny's back on the bench. Hall is back. Now he's come on. Coletta came on. None of these players started, which they should be doing and would ordinarily be doing, as with the likes of Nombe and Etete and so on and so forth. When these players get back, Sharif. So, yeah, the players are not back yet. They might not be, you know, fully injured and completely out for the next 3 weeks, but they're not fully back and integrated into that first team for me anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Yeah. Apologies.
You did, yeah. Well done.
No
let's spend the last 10 minutes kind of talk about the season and so far, and if you've seen enough. We've had spells in most games where we've been, other than Cardiff and yesterday, where we've been decent. You know, not enough, obviously, because we're not most of the games. But we've had spells where I think it's been good enough, mate. But yesterday was a difference, and it was the first downward spiral at home. It was the first full bad 90 minutes at home.
Yeah.
Do you start to worry where this is going to? Because the next run of fixtures becomes Mansfield away is a difficult place to go. Bradford are absolutely flying as well in terms of the fixture after that. Are you seeing enough cohesion? Are you seeing enough organisation? Are you seeing enough kind of progress so far to keep you satisfied for now?
I'm not satisfied, no. Do I think he can do it? Yes, I absolutely do. I have, and don't ask me to evidence that because I can't. You know, nobody can. But I believe he's capable of turning this team around, this club around, which is what it desperately needs, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. And I'll say it again, you know, this is a long-term project. This is a 2-season project to get this team up to where it should be. And I think he's the right person to do it. How long it takes is how long it takes as far as I'm concerned, you know. And I'm happy, personally, I'm happy to have my feelings hurt every Saturday for a few weeks, a few months, because I can deal with that, you know, because I'm a Rotherham United supporter and I've spent my life dealing with it from a footballing point of view. What I want is a football club. So he'll turn it around. I have full confidence in him, yes, absolutely.
It's called blind faith. That makes
you call it what
that's
you want.
Football, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean you can. Yeah, and I would agree with you up to a point. You can call it that. Yeah, blind faith if you want. That's fine. Whatever. But yeah, I do.
Yeah,
He'll do it.
We're seeing question, and what I would say is I don't think any. We're not. None of us are going to say I'm sure he should go or anything like that. It's stupidly early in the season. I know some people say that, but you know what they're like. But we are 16 games technically, 16 league games into the reign. How do you assess it so far? Are you still with Mick that you kind of have that blind faith that it will come good? Are you starting to get worried? Where do you sit on it?
100%. As a cult member, I fully back Hampshire because he's from Rotherham. Only for that reason. No, I set up. I looked at this, what the points what we got last season and when we got them, and I've been comparing. So we got 3 in August last year, same this year, and 4 in September, same as this year. So when people are saying we're worse than last year, we're not. Plus, add on top of that, we've got so many more young players. I know we're saying about the injuries, but we've probably got double the amount of injuries we had last year. So you got to factor all that in. It's not good. It's not good now, but I have faith it's going to get better long term. I don't think we're going to get relegated, what people are saying. I can't see it. But, you know.
Yeah. Let's go to the comment. Matt Pomad says Hampshire isn't up for the job. We will see, though I really hope I'm wrong, plus the fact there isn't anything else that would come in. That adds into it. Brooks Daisy says agrees with Mick. We've paid off the last 3 managers. The pots are dry. Start from zero. Nick says I'm glad Mick has said that because it was feeling like Mick and Matt were turning on Hammy. Matt Miller says I'm not suggesting Hampshire should be removed at all. Not all. Just a lot of discontent at the moment. Football Mad says doing no better than Evans, unfortunately.
Well, that's not true, is it?
I knew you couldn't resist that one. I knew he couldn't resist.
Did you put that comment in there yourself?
Yeah, that's me. I'm Football Mad. Yeah.
I mean, that's just not true. It might, points-wise, he might not be doing better, although I think we probably are. I'm not sure. I don't know. Can't be much difference.
Same amount pointing so far. What I'm concerned about, we got like 10 points in October last year. I can't see us getting that many.
It's not October yet, is it? I mean, ultimately, it's not true. And I'll tell you why, in my opinion, that it's not true. We've got a squad with an average age of round about early 20s as opposed to early 40s. I'm taking Mick, but you know, I mean, I would argue it's probably 7, 8, 9 years less than it was. We've got players with assets that belong to this football club that we will be able to sell on, assuming that the club deals with the contract properly. So straight away you're in a better position before you even start about the quality of the football, before you start about the attitude and the way that the management team talk about the players and what they intend to do and what they want to do, about the fact that they aren't promising us anything whatsoever other than we will do our absolute best to get this team right. That's before you even look at the performances on the pitch. And the performances on the pitch, whilst they ain't getting the result, are a million times better, in my opinion, a million times better than what we were subjected to last season and the season before. So it's not just Evans I'm talking about. So we're not in the same position as far as I'm concerned, not even close. We might be league-wise, position in the league, but the rest of it, you've got to look at the bigger picture. This is not just about...
The difference for me... The difference for me is, and comparing both, is you bring somebody like Evans in, it's an immediate results kind of appointment in it. So you're not bringing somebody like him in to build for the future. You're bringing in, you want immediate results. So last season, you've got a manager who's got loads of experience, and we've got the same amount of points this season. You've got a new manager, newly enrolled, never been a football manager before. He needs to be given a bit more time, and it needs to be a different metric that you measure it against. Am I 100% behind Amy? At the moment, I'm not, but I'm also not calling for his head either. There's a few things that I'm a bit frustrated about, but I'm not Amy out by no way at all. I think the football's not been great, but it's slightly better than last season. But it's just I just think when you compare it, it's not something you can be compared. And I know people will do because it's a results-based business, but it's a different scenario you're working with. So I think it's a different metric.
Yeah, I agree. Harry says I feel we shouldn't be comparing both completely different managers. It's very easy to do so. And one we'd obviously do it occasionally, but it's not great. It doesn't help anything, does it? Comparing one thing to another. Plus once, Harry says, I feel like we shouldn't compare them both completely different managers, but then goes on to compare them. Harry, plus one set a very clear expectation for league. The other one hasn't. Yeah, there we go. I don't know.
I tell you what, though, when you mention the future games, we've got the next 4 games. They're tough, but they're winnable. Bradford aside, they're absolutely flying. I think if we get to the end of those 4 games and we have not improved, or like say we lose all 4 games, it's a different conversation we're having on this podcast. And no matter how much we want him to succeed, because we're part of the cult that we're desperate for him to succeed. We look at his shrine every night and we want him
founding
to
members, mate. Founding members.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it still the pensioners' cult, or is it just cult?
Well, there's a committee meeting in the next few days, so I'll get back to you in terms of what we're calling.
But we will start questioning it. If we are bottom at league in 4 games' time, then it's a results-based business. And no matter how much of the sentiment and the fact is from Romash, as everybody keeps it, that's in it. I can't remember who put it yesterday, but is from Romash is the new but the good human beings tag. I can't remember it. Neil, somebody I think on Twitter, and that made me laugh. That.
Yeah, good human beings. But maybe that's the problem. Maybe they're not good human beings. Maybe that's the problem with the squad.
Maybe they're all knobheads and sorry, Matt, I had to say that. Apologies.
Thing is, who do we get in? Do you know what? All these people calling for his head. Who do you get in?
Woody.
It's just clickbait.
Woody. Yeah.
It's just clickbait.
Ersty will be next one. Lives in Kilmarnock, cheap, and he was there yesterday.
I've seen everyone calling for Ravel, and after watching Stevenage, absolutely not. If that's how they play it, absolutely not.
Right, he's not
why would he come to us? Yeah.
The second in league, Cartel same. He's other one in who people have mentioned. They're probably not going to come to us. And we don't want to sack another manager. We can't afford to buy players. We can't afford to be sacking managers, can we?
No. But Rich has put his hand up. He's from Romash. Rich is up next.
Yes.
Well done, Rich. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think the good thing is, as much as it's bad and it's not very good, it's not like we're getting beaten up, is it? You look at Sellers, for example, at Sheffield United. That was they were getting beaten up. It was rotten. It was bad. We're not that bad. We're just not quite there yet. So that's the difference. Why I
can't believe do you know? I can't believe that these conversations are even being had at this stage of a manager's tenure. I genuinely can't believe it. It's just, I guess, it's a sign of the times. I guess that's all it is. And some people, and I said it before, some people don't have the mental tools to deal with that. I'm not. You think I'm joking? I'm not. You know, they don't have the mental tools to deal with losing. It's that simple. You know, we lose. You're a football club. You're a football supporter. A club that averages League One. We probably, I think over the years, we probably average mid-table League One if you counted it all out. If you're going to support that football club, you're going to lose. You're going to get relegated. You're going to have bad times. That's what happens. And I'm not trying to be patronising or anything like that. You know, we've had 12 years of absolutely boom football as far as this football club is concerned. We've had some relegations, but we've had some unbelievable times. Before anybody says, oh, yes, I am very much aware that was started by Steve Evans. So, you know, but the point I'm trying to make is it's not always like that. Football isn't like that. I'm sorry to tell you.
It's funny because yesterday were 11 years since I took my lad to his first game. He's 17 now. And it were 11 years to the exact day. And it was Charlton at home and we drew 1-1. That's all I remember. And I put something on Facebook and I said, we've been to Wembley. He's been to Wembley twice. We didn't go to Gillingham, but the Gillingham, the Georgia Kelly, we've had numerous promotions, we've had a few relegations. This is the worst he's ever seen these last 2 seasons, a Rotherham fan. You know, this is the worst. Yeah. And there's a lot of, it's not sort of like their opinions as valid as everybody else, but there's a lot of people have only seen that. And social media, there's a natural reaction to jump on social media straight after the game and say, get him gone, or that was an abomination. I've tried to stop tweeting for at least, Well, I normally get in car and then drive somewhere, and it's 45 minutes to an hour after the game, and you kind of calm down a little bit, don't you? I mean, you guys have to jump on a camera and have an instant reaction, so you do quite well at that. I'm probably not best person to ever get on that because I'm quite reactive. So.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Two things, mate. Rob asks, are you happy with the League Two rebuild? Year 2 of the rebuild?
That's a valid question. Happy is not the right word. No, absolutely not. I wouldn't be happy. Would I take it? I've took it before. I'll take it again. You know? So I wouldn't be happy, no. But if it meant that we could stockpile, for the want of a better term, another 10 or 12 players like Hall, Martha, and so on and so forth, but it meant us going down to League Two, then I'd take it, yeah. 100% I would take it. I wouldn't enjoy it and I would not be happy about it, no. But I'd take it, yeah.
Yeah. Polo Roads are still scarred by George Kerr, while Sarah Ogden says some of these called for Hamid Head didn't experience Danny Bagara. Yeah. Matt Miller says, we've had 3-4 years of rubbish after previous good times. There seems to be no ink of light currently that will change. Constantly waiting for bigger picture doesn't cut it. Yeah. You've got to find somewhere in the middle, aren't you? You know, if we end up getting beat up every week, then there's a decision to be made. But we're not at that stage.
We're not getting beat up every week. We're just not performing as well as we should be doing.
Yeah.
Rob Dixon says rather have Steve Cherry in goal than Cam Dawson. There we go. Mick, we have gone a bit long tonight, but I am going to leave you the floor to finish to upset Mike. Matt, salacious headline. Harry says New York Hawks are happy with relegation.
Yeah.
I thought that's going to be screenshotted and whatever, and that's going to be all over. He's happy clapper.
That's it. That is full content for another podcast. That one.
Yeah.
Nobody would be so predictable to do that, would they? That'd be so predictable to do that. Mick, do you want to finish off by shouting at the referee?
Not really. It's not worth our time, is it? I said it in the post-match, and I'll say it again. As far as I'm concerned, aside from the championship, that performance from the referee yesterday was comfortably the worst performance I've seen over 90 minutes of any referee at the New York Stadium, except in the championship, because there's been a lot worse in championship. And he should be promoted. He should absolutely be promoted because he would suit the championship. It was appalling. He completely lost it. So
he lost it weirdly. He lost it about 4 minutes in. I guess he didn't lose it so early.
Yeah.
It was the Jules yellow card. I think after that it just went downhill.
Yeah. And he gave some, I mean, not even just for us. I mean, I can't even remember all the decisions because there were that many bad ones, but I got off my chair quite a few times and shouted some names at him. But even for the Stockport, there were a couple of decisions that we gave free kicks. So wasn't he like, what? What's he good that for? And it just made no sense. It was terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
It's when he sent Joe Powell off when he had something in his eye, I think.
Yeah.
He was complaining about his eye, weren't he? And he was like, head injury, off, go on, get off.
Yeah.
And then forgot about him for a minute and a half, didn't he? He didn't even bring him back up straight away.
No, he didn't know. Some referees, and again, sorry, Mike, but some referees just come across as Jobsworth, and he came across as one of those, didn't he? So I'm sure we'll see him again at some point this season. Is there anything else we want to mention quickly, as we've gone a bit long, but anything else that needs mentioning?
No, just say that if anybody's listening, I would definitely be happy for us to be relegated. I'm not bothered. I don't care. I'm not really that bothered. Yeah, League Two, let's do it. Come on.
Hey, there were another chink of light as well. One more chink of light out of the game. The set piece has been absolutely horrific this season. And not Dawson, what's he called? Benson. I got the wrong one. Benson's ball. I know he was offside, but Benson's ball in were quality. So this is how far we've fallen. That one good free kick is a chink of light.
Correct. I completely agree. I'll be taking Powell off and getting him Dangor and Benson, assuming he's playing. Yeah, you're right. But I said to Mick when he lined up to do it, he does a really long, stupid. I thought this is going to be terrible, and it was just perfect. Obviously, if Clay stayed onside. But yeah, I completely agree with that, Andrew. Right, you going to say something, Mick? Can you pull his face?
No. I've said enough.
Mick's going to hide in Mexico for a few weeks now.
I've had enough. Need a break.
Fair enough. Thank you all for watching. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you have subscribed on YouTube. We're at 7 away from 1,900 subscribers. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. See if we can get close to that milestone in the next few days or so.
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you get a like as well. We'd very much appreciate that. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are audio listening, follow, like, subscribe, whatever it allows you to do. Wherever it is. We will be back on Thursday for the preview of the Mansfield game, and we'll try and get a scouting report done for those guys as well. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Andrew. It's been good fun, but it's not been good fun. It's been something.
Cathartic. I think cathartic is the word.
That's the one.
Session, isn't it?
Yeah, we've gone back to being helped by good. What counts like counsellors? Yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah,
council cult. The counsellor's cult. We call it that.
Yeah, if you want. It all starts sounding a bit. No, let's not.
Yeah, we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Thank you all for watching. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers. Cheers.
Comes for more. 2 for Jensen, 2 for Rotherham. Shoots. Ravel. Vicious, but brilliant. The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United.
Got round the back, and Richie Wood